So this is Tim. And Raven's going to talk to him about veganism.
You are vegan.
Yeah, sorry, Matt. Yeah, we're just having a little chat.
Yeah, you're welcome to join in. You're welcome to join in. Question. So Tim, do you want to do a brief introduction of... You're on, bro. You're on, yeah? Yeah, do you want to do a brief introduction of what you're about, why you're in the park?
Yeah, sure, yeah. So...
Content over everything!
So I've been vegan now for about 9 months. Give or take about 9 months. And 10 months ago, I watched a documentary called Cowspiracy, and it talks about the environmental impacts that animal agriculture has on our planet. And if I wanted to classify myself as an environmentalist, if I wanted to classify myself as someone that cared about the planet and tried to do the least amount of harm to that planet, that basically showed me that I could no longer contribute to buying animal products because of the actual damage that it causes. So that got me thinking, and at the end of the film, the world seemed a very different place to me, like a very different place. But I didn't go like vegan there and then on the spot.
What was the process for you to become vegan? So you're eating meat, McDonald's and all the rest of it. You saw a show and you said, you know what, this resonates with me. I'm going to be vegan. But then what did you do to get it? Because you said it wasn't overnight, right?
Yeah.
So what did you do?
So just basically I was just thinking about it, just basically saying to my friends and family, like, do you know about this? Did you know about the actual damage that animal agriculture has on this planet? I was saying to myself, so I reduced massively. I was going from someone that didn't think about these things in the slightest for 32 and a bit years of my life to now just completely changing the way I lived. I was thinking, I reduced quite a lot, but then I stumbled across animal slaughter footage. I stumbled across a video of what happens in the egg industries, and when the boys and girls are separated in hatcheries, because the boys are regarded as waste products, they're just like chucked on these conveyor belts, and at the end of this conveyor belt it goes into this massive macerator and just grinds them up alive. So like seeing that presented with that, it really did, like, just at that moment, even though I was thinking about going vegan anyway, and once I saw that, I was like, done. So from that moment on, no animal products or anything.
So from that moment on, there was no, you wasn't tempted, there wasn't a craving for me.
No, it basically, it made me, it made me think about things from the victim's point of view. I was a bit more empathetic about what happens to animals. So therefore, I just could no longer justify it, and it's been very easy. It has been very easy.
So that video kind of converged, right? So when you told your family that you're no longer eating meat, how did they treat you?
I live in London, and so I'm originally from Launceston, a town in Cornwall. And my family live down there, so I don't really see them that often. We speak and everything on the phone, but it wasn't really much of it wasn't a big deal.
So what about, did you go to the house for food and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Do they entertain you?
The last time I went down to see my mum, she stocked up on all the vegan options, and she got everything. She was great. She really catered and really respects
because like I was talking before, with the area of interest I support veganism. I think it's definitely the way forward, right? Definitely when it comes to health and ethics and so forth. But I also want to know people's views on certain things. And what I was talking to you over there was the concept of, what if you have a house, right, and your house is invaded by mice? How do you treat that? Let the people know how you would treat that.
Well, I would definitely. I don't know, right? I suppose the best answer is I'm not entirely sure if that was to happen. If my house was to be overtaken by mice, I wouldn't know. So I would seek to find the best information that I could be given. There isn't anything. There's nothing wrong with defending your home.
So you see a mice in your house as a form of attack. Is that right?
To a certain, they're just going about doing their own thing, aren't they? They don't know. And we've come along and put all these buildings, and we've invaded their homes, or then us invading theirs, I suppose. But it's. Our home is like our kingdom, isn't it? Our home's our safe space, and and mice, they will bring certain diseases, and they will bring, they will just, I don't know, I lost for words, just.
Because what you've identified that the mice were here in the natural environment. we've built a home there.
Yeah.
They're coming for warmth and food.
Yeah.
Because and then you're saying this is some form of attack, but this might be worthy of death because of it.
I wouldn't like to think so. I would definitely seek to find the.
Is there any like other vegans who might not share the end goal of maybe killing them? Is there some vegans who say my house is their house that you come across?
Definitely, yeah.
Would you think you guys will actually have a strong debate about the roles of mice in house invasions?
Yeah, potentially. It's not one I've actually had with.
But it's something that in living in London we have to expect, right?
Things that
I've
never had. Yeah, I've never had this problem ever in my entire life. I've never had like a cockroach infestation. I've never had a mice infestation. I've never
what if you
really
had one mice? Just one.
One. Oh yeah, I'd definitely make sure I had a humane trap where it will just catch the mice and mouse, and then you can take them away and put them in a, the woods or something.
As a vegan, are you allowed to have a pet?
So we don't believe in bringing life into existence that doesn't already exist just for our own personal pleasure and entertainment. So we don't believe in buying an animal from a breeder.
Stealing. You're stealing.
Stealing.
You mean just taking it without paying for it?
No. I don't believe in I don't think breeders should exist.
Oh right.
So I don't. Yeah. So in the long goal, the end goal would be we don't have pets. But at this moment in time, there are so many domesticated animals that rely on us to look after them. So I believe that we all should be going to shelters and pounds and rescuing those animals from those situations.
Well, those animals are going to breed them, aren't they?
Yeah, but I mean, again, because we brought them into existence and they are relying on us to look after them.
Yeah, but when you take them, your cat will breed with the next neighbour's cat, right?
Yeah.
So then it won't stop.
Yeah, but you can, neuter your pets.
Is that something that vegans support, neutering? As far as you know.
Yeah, as far as yes, I would say so. Yeah.
See, because there might be some people who think that might be somewhat cool to stop the cat from passing on its genes.
Yeah, but again, I mean, we've got to eradicate those problems, and it's a problem that we've created. So it's down to us to find the best solutions to fix those problems.
So if your cat was hunting the mice that's in your house, would you think that's a bad thing or a good thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's nature.
Yeah, so you support that form of killing?
I mean, I don't like it. Right. I think it's good to put like a bell on a cat, so therefore, the mouse has warning.
Right. So in a sense, you stop it from catching anything, really.
Ideally.
Right. Yeah. So when I spoke to you before, I asked because we're moving into the concept of animals killing animals, how you feel about it. Obviously, you say you're not too happy to do it. We understand it's natural, right? And I said, in a sci-fi setting, if you could actually change the DNA of all animals so they ate plants, would you do it? And what do you say?
Yeah, I would do. Yeah, I would do. I mean, the thing is, though, you'd have to look into the ramifications of that, the knock-on effect, the overpopulation of certain animals, because obviously carnivores keep,
balance, right?
Yeah, it's that balance.
Right. So there is a need for eating animals in one sense, you're saying. Yeah. Right. It's a tricky one, isn't it?
It is a tricky one, yeah. This world is full of suffering.
Right.
The fact that carnivores exist and eat these peaceful herbivores are just going about their day-to-day lives. That's horrible. I mean, I don't like that.
But once you identify they're carnivores, meaning they cannot eat anything else.
No.
So, in a sci-fi setting or in a future setting, how would you relieve that situation?
Yeah, it's tricky. Ideally, in a sci-fi setting, I think we can come along and find the best possible solutions. Like, we could technically give animals, like carnivores, that are dependent on eating other animals. We could give them an alternative. That doesn't mean that they have lab-grown meat potentially.
So meat grown in a laboratory.
Yeah.
Would you eat that?
I wouldn't. No.
Why would you not eat meat that's grown in a laboratory if you can?
Just for health reasons.
You don't think it'll be healthy?
No, because it's still going to come with all the negative side effects. Because it's going to be exactly the same as it would be eating off an animal. And when we eat animal flesh, it contains dietary cholesterol and saturated fat that clogs up our arteries. So that's still going to happen in that regard. So just on that sense, but I wouldn't have a problem with anyone eating lab-grown meat. It's not like I would be advocating no one doesn't eat lab-grown meat.
Yeah, you want to come in, my friend?
Whoa, hold on.
Sorry, I was looking under the technology there.
You got the vegans.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get back to the vegans.
Vegan anarchists.
Sorry, man.
The most violent people in the park are the vegans.
I didn't cause any damage.
Well, we
Are you insured?
no. What's your name, brother?
Taio.
Tim?
Taio.
Taio and Tim.
Bless.
Taio, Tim, and Barry. That's me. Right? So the vegan crew, right? So
I have to say, Raven, I've seen you on YouTube. I'm a hippie. I've no TV, but I got a computer like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I got it because I was going to go to the Calais jungle.
And
I was working with the Refugee Council in the 90s. But I wanted to update, so I wanted to do some research on the computers. That's why I got the computer. And then before you know it, I suppose I got interested in Speaker's Corner a short while ago, so I've watched a few YouTubes and I have seen you debating. So I'm just letting you know that I've.
I recommend asking Taio the positions you were just putting forth in front of me, because it'd be interesting to see Taio's view.
I've asked him, and I know that not all vegans are universally,
Well, I don't define myself. You've got to define veganism to start with. Okay. So from it's got a lineage going back to conscientious objectors. This is a story that I hear.
Okay, cool.
And it's about non-violence, not causing unnecessary harm.
That's fine.
So that's a lot of people think veganism is something else. I do a lot of vegan advocacy on the street. But I'm a rainbow warrior. Do you know about rainbow gatherings?
So is that like a peaceful, trying to get everything peaceful?
Well, say it easy. It's the hippies. It's the hippies are in town. That's that's the caricature. But rainbow gathering, you can Google it. You find it on Wikipedia. Some call it the largest group of non-members in the world.
Non-members. All right.
So there's no membership. There's no bank accounts. There's no buildings. Okay. So we gather out in nature for a lunar cycle. It started in America. The movement after Woodstock. And they say that there were people from Vietnam veterans. They were out in the woods because they were trained to be. There were also hippies who've been people who've been taking psychedelics, but there were also environmental activists. And then there were the native people. And this, at one point, the people trying to have a discussion. And then the Native American says, what? We've got this talking stick, and actually, if we want to hear each other, then we can use this. When you've got the stick, you can speak.
That might work quite well at Speaker's Corner, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. We should bring it here. So you're saying you're a rainbow...
some say warrior.
Rainbow warrior.
Some say family.
Rainbow family.
Okay, so there's no scripture. But there is a prophecy.
What is prophecy?
Which is kind of common throughout the Americas, but the one that I hear most often repeated is in a time when the animals are dying. So it starts off with the animals, nothing about humans.
Well, would some people say that humans are animals, but carry on going?
In a time when the animals are dying and the land has been ravaged, come forth the rainbow warriors. From all cultures and creeds, from the oppressed and the dispossessed. And then crucially, through their actions and deeds, not through their words, but through their actions and deeds, turn the land green again. And that's it.
Do you know who wrote that prophecy?
I don't. It's an oral tradition, isn't it?
Right.
So, we don't have scripture.
No.
So Christians come. People from all traditions come. And basically, we go back to nature. We gather free from alcohol, drugs, technology.
All drugs. Because some things might not be defined as drugs.
Some people define it as synthetic. Some people, drugs, alcohol. Drugs. So alcohol and drugs is already separate. So there's only 4 things, right? Alcohol, drugs. Some might put them together. Some. Technology.
Okay.
And domestic animals. Why are you keeping the domestic animals out? But actually, if a dog comes into a space where there's constantly new people, the dog is constantly, who's my pack? I'm worried about this new person. I'm going to start barking. And before you know it, there's a human who's woken up in the night, who's a bit scared of dogs. Also, the dog's shit all over the place.
So, would you say that you're sinning by having a laptop?
I'm sinning.
Well, I'm using this word because when we talk about prophecies, So negatively not upholding the prophecy that you've defined. Would you say you have?
a rainbow gathering
Go ahead.
is a limited time.
Right.
So it's a lunar cycle.
Right.
So from new moon to new moon.
Right.
And then we have a seed camp before,
Right.
which is when a few people go onto the land that's been decided upon. And then, we decide where the central fire is going to be, where we're going to build the kitchen.
Right.
So it's a lot of visioning, not much doing. And then you set the seed, you decide where the shit pit's going to be, you know where the water is, you know we're going to do shopping, build up relationships with the locals. And then the new moon, okay, it's a ceremony, but sometimes there isn't a ceremony. If there's someone who wants to do a ceremony, there's a ceremony. But, it's that object in the sky.
The sun.
You won't be able to see it, it's the moon, because it's dark moon, so there's no moon in the sky. That's when the gathering starts. And then it builds up to full moon, which is usually when most people are there, and then it dies down to new moon. But in that time, we're getting water from the springs, we're cooking on open fires. It's a vegan kitchen.
Of course.
But there's no one at the door.
Is it raw vegan or just vegan? Is there cooking involved? Is it raw vegan?
Yeah. So
is it free-falling vegan?
Usually breakfast. Right. We only do 2 meals a day usually in rainbow culture.
Right.
Breakfast is usually soaked oats.
Right.
Sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, like raisins, and then some chopped fruit that's separate. And there is raw foodists.
Right.
And it's very funny, you go to the European gatherings, right? So the American gatherings might be 30,000, 40,000 in the mountains. European gatherings may be anything up to 8,000 hippies in the mountains, right? And you've got the raw food community. Sometimes they're described as separatists.
I can imagine.
And they can't ever get it right. It's like, we'll be inside the main food circle, and we'll make our circle inside the main food circle. And people are saying, why do you want to be the centre of attention? Come on. And then they go, okay, we'll make our circle outside of the main food circle.
Right.
And what the raw foodists do, that generally, 2 methods, are they put all the raw food in the middle, and people self-service, or people come around with buckets with the food and say, what would you like? And offer the service.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, if they make the circle outside of the main food circle, they're separatists.
Well, I'm saying there seems to be a separation within your
So then there's the third
unification.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
everyone sits in the same circle,
Right.
and then you have the big pots that people carry around with the cooked food,
Right.
and they're ladling it in.
Right.
And then you've got the raw foodists with their bucket saying, who's the raw foodist? And then everyone's in the same circle.
And you are not a raw foodist.
No, but I do like raw food, and I went to the
at a certain point, right?
Yeah,
At a certain point.
I went to the Portuguese gathering.
Right.
So we've done maybe since the European gathering came to England in 2006,
Right.
the big one. We've done maybe 30 or 40 month-long gatherings.
Right.
We've walked from London to Wales,
Yeah.
Wales to London. We've walked the rivers out of London to the sources of the rivers, like the Ravensbourne in Keston.
Sounds like a good place.
It's a strong artesian well there.
Right.
When we were there, we gathered, there was a water board person there who said the water here is always really good because it's artesian, it comes from a long way underground. And that's where Caesar had his camp. The other really strong artesian well in South London is in Wimbledon.
Right.
There's also Caesar had a camp. But the camps there were Celtic before.
So
They date back to
did
the
you
40s.
walk to these places?
Yeah, so we walked from London.
Yeah.
We walked, so that took 2 months with wheelbarrows.
Okay.
With a bell tent. My daughter sat on top of the bell tent.
Is
walking along.
she's young, I'm taking. She's young.
She at that point, that walk out of London was 2013. At that point, she was 2-3.
Right, okay. And I take it you do not walk.
No, I don't do
No,
anything
you're not
like this.
you're not Rainbow Warrior.
I'm not into any of that.
But I'm an
Didn't think
animal
so.
rights activist as well.
Right.
In my spare time.
So what kind of things happens when you're activist for animals? What things does that entail? What are you doing when you are doing what you do?
Outside of the rainbow
You
gathering.
Yes,
come in.
yeah, come in.
I've done all sorts of things. So like when I did getting out of London,
Yeah.
I went and did like off-grid living, working on organic farms.
Right.
And then I had a kind of romantic connection with a Colombian. We went out to Spain. Yeah,
Right.
when working on organic farms in Spain.
So when you say romantic connection,
Yeah.
because obviously I'm taking certain terminology slightly changed in different cultural groups.
Yeah.
You at that point there was an intimate relationship being building.
A Colombian sister.
So it's
Yeah.
a woman. Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay.
So with her cousin and
As
a friend
well?
of mine, we go down to Spain.
Right.
Yeah, and my van breaks down in Spain, right? Shit. But I'm looking round and I'm seeing the prices of houses, right? In this place in the south of Spain, in Granada. It's like 5,000 euros for a ruin.
For a room?
A ruin.
Oh,
a ruin.
Oh, right.
In this town, right? And I'm thinking, it's nice and warm here. You know, I've lived out in tropical. I've been in Brazil for a year, so I've done that. I've been in India. But I'm thinking that, I like this climate. You know, to be honest, it's more suited to us as human beings.
Right, sounds good.
Yeah, and they didn't lose their small holdings in Spain in the same way. There's lots of small holdings out there, like people growing, all the sunshine fruits. But you could go up in the mountains and get the apples and cherries as well. Anyway, I decide I'm going back to England. I'm going to make some money, and then I'm going to get a loan, and I buy this ruin. Right. Meanwhile, I'm going up into the mountains because I hear rumours about these hippies in the mountains.
Right.
Yeah, so they're up in the mountains, and I'm going up, and I come across the teepee, and there's food by donation. You don't have to pay, and people are singing in there.
Which is always good.
And I'm like, so it's a bit like Brazil culture, street culture, people singing together in a circle. So that was my first encounter with Rainbow Family, in that sense, off-grid, using the talking stick. And then I was going back into town. I was in the building kind of trade because I had to make money to do up my ruin. So I was labouring, but I was getting €3 an hour. And then this gypsy builder, my Colombian friend's talking with him. He's working for an English guy, so I work with him as a labourer, but I can speak Spanish, and there's lots of English.
So you can speak Spanish?
Yeah. So there's unusual for an English person. I study languages. That's what took me out to Brazil.
Oh, so you can speak Portuguese?
Yeah. And that's when I was working for the Refugee Council. I was working with Angolans and Mozambikis.
That's good.
And then I was doing the French. So, and then I did a crash course in Spanish because there are a lot of Ecuadorians and Colombians. So this was in the time in '96.
Right.
I don't know if you know about the change in legislation. In
you can let people know. I hope so.
Yeah, well, so in '96, asylum seekers became made no longer had access to benefits.
Right.
So the charitable sector came forward and set up day centres and night shelters. Me newly coming to London from Leeds University, I connect with this because I got into human rights when I was in Brazil during my university studies. So, I've got a friend who's going out with the Sikh. She's a studying to be a human rights lawyer. So I'm going down to the Sikh temples in the Refugee Council car, and going to filling it up with food from the Gurdwaras, and then driving back to Vauxhall to the Baptist Church, which is a day centre, and we're feeding people from all around, and that's how I got involved in the Refugee Council. But in '96, the legislation changed, so asylum seekers fell under the Homeless Act. So before they were getting central government aid, like unemployed people would, and now they're getting people. So from technicality was from going jobless to homeless. 1948 Homeless Act. So they were getting money from local councils rather than central government. So the ploy was to decentralise immigration so that people wouldn't all go to London. That they would say, no, you go to that council up there, and they will provide the funds, decentralisation. But because otherwise everyone would go to London because, their communities are in London. Like that.
So I'm trying to think of. So you joined the Rainbow Family Warriors, right?
Well, you can't really join. There's no membership.
As in. It's the fact that you can talk about it means that there's awareness of it.
Experienced rainbow culture. Yeah.
When you experienced this culture, how did your family
my mother and father?
Yeah,
well, listen, I was out in Spain for 3 years, so I was gathering, and I became very close with the community in the mountains and the Pyrenees, and I was busking, hitchhiking, going down, recycling in the markets.
When you say busking, you mean music?
With a guitar,
okay, so you can play music as well?
Yeah, because rainbow culture is all about singing songs, and it comes from all religious traditions, but also made-up songs. So I developed that skill, and I could travel with that. And then you go to the markets, recycle, take up to the community. But in the winter, in the Pyrenees, the Rainbow Family, because we did an extended rainbow, we did a rainbow gathering and then another rainbow gathering, and then continued in the mountains. But there's all the crazy, wild men punk killing loads of animals, punk music, and I was more like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like Rainbow Family.
And it's like, well, the number of people in the mountains was diminishing,
Right.
and I was one of the last men standing. I'm the crazy gringo who's up there, and then eventually it came to, I didn't see through that season in the High Pyrenees, and I came back to England, retraced my steps, but in rainbow culture you've got families, so you've got children.
When you say children, what does that mean? As in offspring or younger people you look after?
At the rainbow gathering, it lasts for a cycle. There are families that come, so there are children running around.
Right. So
and what I'm saying, in my upbringing, because of schools, you're streamed, in schools into your age group. And I didn't have any cousins close to me, so as I was growing up, I didn't experience like young children. I didn't see young children. So I was friends with adults in the rainbow culture, who had children.
So you're separated from your biological family. Is that correct? As in, you separated the space they're in to go to a new space where they're not in. So you're not seeing the offspring of your biological family grow. Is that right?
No. I do have children now. But at that time when I was in Spain, I didn't have children. Okay, but what I'm saying is, being exposed to rainbow culture exposed me to a holistic community of elders, a bit like in Brazil. When I went to Brazil, I was exposed to the same thing. When people celebrated, all the families there. When I was in Leeds as a youth, you go to the nightclubs, it's all young people. So when I came back...
So a mixture of different age groups and different...
And like I do home education now. And for me, the education system is based on a military system.
We could join it, we do, but good guy, and you can...
As you know, he died for you.
Well, I hope
he died on the cross for you.
Well, I hope he will live next time, but we can talk to you after we have this interview.
All right,
That's good, yeah? Thank you very much. Right.
So the school system is based on Frederick the Great, the Prussian king.
Sorry.
So you know the story about Frederick the Great?
There you go.
So Frederick the Great was surrounded by superpowers, a small Prussian state. So he had the French Empire, the Swedish Empire, the Habsburgs, and the Russians. Prussia was a tiny state, and he was fearful.
So Prussia. That's where Germany is now, right?
Right. Yeah,
and
it's a small part
of
what Germany is.
Yeah, cool.
And so he was like, okay, so we start a militaristic state. And he wasn't in his palace, he was on horseback his whole life. And he brought about this militaristic state that managed not only to hold its own, but to defeat some of these superpowers. But he did it by compulsory education. And so then this became the first modern model of compulsory education, which the Americans and the British then adopted. So it's distinctly our education system has its roots in the military state.
And it's something you're against, I suspect.
It's the separation of the age groups. This is what I see experientially doing home education, is that the younger aren't separated from the older. The best teachers of the children are the children. So you'll see that sometimes the older ones want to go with the younger ones if they want to nurture. If they want to be nurtured, they go with the older ones. And there's no kind of separation.
So you're saying there are young children who their tutors are actually young as well.
Yeah. So young children will pass on to younger children, their knowledge.
What is it that they actually learn in these kind of rainbow schooling systems?
Well, for me, it's like whatever anyone wants to bring that's positive. It's like So we've got. We used to move around different home education groups. I'm sure you're aware that there are different home education groups, and you can go along. And we've also, what I call in rainbow culture, you have vocalizers. A vocalizer is someone who identifies a time and a place for something to happen. You could call it an organizer, but in rainbow culture it's a vocalizer. And once the vocalizer's done their job of identifying a time and a place, the people come together. They're no longer a leader. They've just brought the people together, and everyone's got their.
So you don't have leaders. You don't actually have people who identify as leaders.
Well, you can have leadership roles, for a period of time, but you can step out of that role anytime you like. But if you've got a water vocalizer, they're not necessarily doing all the work of. In a rainbow gathering, you have a lot of shouting.
Shouting?
Yeah. So what the vocalizer will do is, water mission, first call,
Right.
And then they'll give it, the people have heard water mission first call.
Right.
And I don't have to go around all these people at rainbow gatherings because everyone's talking with people.
Right.
Excuse me, I don't want to break the conversation, but it's necessary for the community that water is fetched.
Right.
You don't want to break conversation.
Right,
so
right.
you shout into the air, water mission first call. People are alerted to the fact that there's going to be a water mission.
Right.
Water mission, second call 5 minutes later.
Right.
So at the second call, people get ready. If they want to join, they start to get the stuff that they
And
need.
this is to get water, right?
To get water.
Got it.
They start to get the stuff, I get my coat on.
Right.
Okay, right, I'm going to make my way over to that place where the focaliser's identified the call and he's standing there.
Right.
He's got all the water butts around him ready.
Right.
And then, water mission now! And that's when we all go.
Right.
You know? And so maybe you've got like
too.
20 people off on the water mission.
So do you, in order to be part of the Rainbow Warrior / Rainbow family, do you have to uphold veganism?
This is what I'm saying. There's no one at the door saying you have what's known in rainbow culture the welcome home.
Right.
Okay. So that's classically before you get to the main gathering. It's a place where you can put your bags down,
Right.
have a cup of tea, learn about the rainbow guidelines.
Right.
Free from
Guidelines.
rainbow
Go ahead.
guidelines.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So free from alcohol, drugs, technology,
Right. So,
and domestic animals.
so, but it doesn't actually say anything about abstaining from eating animals.
Okay, so the community kitchen is a vegan kitchen.
Right,
okay?
right.
But you don't have to be vegan to go to a rainbow gathering. What you eat in your own private space, for me, is your own
But you can't
business.
bring dead meat into the...
Yeah, to a communal fire,
You can't do that.
Well, it's,
So
it's
if
an old
someone's-
rainbow,
so
it's
if-
disrespect.
If someone's smoking marijuana, are they welcome in the Rainbow?
Well, yeah, now listen, this brings me to a point, okay? So what we were saying about synthetic or not.
Right.
Okay? As a person myself, the reason why I'm here,
Right.
okay,
You mean here in the world or here at Speak School?
here in the city
Right, go ahead.
at the moment,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about Extinction Rebellion,
Right.
which is a form of activism. You know the 5 bridges that were shut down in central London in the autumn?
Okay.
Yeah, so I was there as part of that. I'd be quite happy to continue my work in the rainbow gatherings
Right.
with my family, right?
The Rainbow family.
No, my family, my nuclear family, my children, and my partner.
Partner.
But the fact is,
Is she the same lady from you met earlier?
the Colombian sister, no.
Oh,
No.
you can only have one partner in the Rainbow.
Listen, all I can describe is my experience, okay? So I call it this, my partner, I could call her my wife.
Right. Are you allowed to have more than one wife in the Rainbow family?
I have no idea, about that kind of thing. But if I'm to say about my own personal experience,
Right.
I've been what you call monogamous.
Oh, so you have one
in my-
partner, right?
Yeah.
Right. Because
so-
remember, a lot of people won't necessarily know much about it if they're not in it. So you are like the inside scoop. aren't
One
you?
of the things about rainbow families, you can't speak for rainbow family.
That's the way it makes it
So
very
I can
difficult.
just
yeah.
speak for myself
Right.
and my own experience.
Right. But there are rules though that you define.
Guidelines.
Guidelines.
No. Yeah, free from alcohol, drugs, technology, and domestic animals. Now, my partner doesn't want to go to the rainbow gatherings anymore.
Why is this? What's wrong with it?
Okay, so we're going to move on to this.
Hey, Riley, what's good?
So her argument is it's not family friendly, okay? Because there's a majority of younger people who are going. If you're looking at the demographic, it's more younger people are going, okay? So I could ask questions why, okay? So if people are taking the stimulants like caffeine, sugar, tobacco, marijuana, I call these stimulants, they're going to celebrate late into the night.
Right.
Okay? If you celebrate late into the night, there's going to be a staggered wake-up call.
Right.
So breakfast is going to be late.
Right.
So morning council is going to be late.
Right. Okay.
So often dinner is going to be in the dark.
Right.
That's not family friendly. So who are the ones who are getting up first in the morning?
Children?
Yeah, the children and the families.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
so they've been celebrating late at night. Dinner was in the dark. So the likelihood is the thing you're asked to bring to a rainbow gathering is your cup, bowl, and spoon. That's the first thing.
Right.
And then warm clothing, a tent, whatever, musical instruments, some money for the magic hat, you know, if you feel like it.
So the most important thing is the
your
cup, the
bowl,
spoon,
and spoon.
and that's before clothing.
Yeah, that's the first thing you put. Cup, bowl, it's hygiene.
Right.
Yeah, because we're off grid, you know, and you know we're using compost toilets. We put shit pits. We put ash over the shit pits, but you know there's health and hygiene issues. So your own cup, bowl, and spoon.
Right.
And the thing is, if the meal's in the night time, then people will leave their cup, bowl, and spoons, their personal items. They're getting high. They go to the kitchen. They have a munchie party. So what do the parents find? There's a mess in the kitchen. We look around the sacred fire, we call it sacred fire, some people call it central fire. There's people's clothing, there's people's, you know, personal items. It's a mess. So I'm tidying up, you know.
How did this happen? How did this rainbow family get this way? What has happened?
This is it. I mean, look at the young. The rainbow is a reflection of society, yeah? But we're using the talking stick after breakfast each day, so we're speaking consciously about how we feel. You know, and that resonates out. Now, returning to the family issue. So, in the last 2-3 years, I've been involved in vocalising and taking a leadership role in inviting Rainbow family from around Europe to healing gatherings over here. Now, a healing gathering, in a rainbow gathering, you have a healing area. And that's a low, you know, healing space. It's not excitable, stimulating space. It's a calming space.
Meaning that in order to enter this place, you cannot take marijuana, coffee.
Yeah, it's a herbal tea space. It's a chill out space. It's like
so
relaxing.
it's forbidden. These things are forbidden.
Well, I don't say forbidden, but it's a guide. You know, it's respect. You know?
Okay, respect.
It's got a certain role, the healing space. Anyway, a healing gathering is recognised within Europe as a people where people are invited to celebrate free from. You notice the positive language, not you can't bring, but we can celebrate free from caffeine, sugar, tobacco,
so
and
you found a
marijuana.
space within a space.
Yeah, so I'm looking to promote family friendly, so we don't do these stimulants. Then I'm countering my partner's argument that it's just for the singles.
You mean you're finding a solution for?
Yeah, so I've done that. Okay. Guess what? My family still don't want to go.
Why is this?
Yeah. So I'm asking the same question. And as the Rainbow family in this country, we've done, like I say, 30 to 40 gatherings, these nomadic gatherings, whatever. We have been subject to police always come. You know, we have landowners who don't want us there. We gather away from houses. We don't want to cause anyone any problem. We're not amplified music, but we have rangers coming. You know, saying you're not welcome. You know, you're lovely people. You know, very English, lovely people, but you can't stay here. You've got to leave. You know, we've gone through court processes. We've had 10 men in black without any labels. We're bailiffs. Yeah, where's your paperwork? We haven't got any paperwork. We've got a high court order. What do you mean? You know, we've got to call the police, and they're hustling us out.
Because you're on someone's private property. Is that how they see it?
Anyway, you know, that whole issue, they've got to go home as bailiffs. We went onto the village green, this is in Wales, and we're talking with the people from the pub, the people in the church, the primary school headmistress, who invites us to give talks about rainbow cultures for primary school children. And meanwhile, we're scouting up in the hills again for a new place, because, you know, the bailiffs have gone home. The bailiffs come again with their paperwork.
But will it be a solution for the Rainbow family to actually try to purchase land?
Well, this is my point. Okay, people have said that to me, but I've been working. We have had one invitation onto land, but we've been. For me, Rainbow family doesn't accept land ownership. So why would we make that contract? Some people make that contract, and then they're in a bubble because they're not experiencing the actual reality of the authorities' attitude. You've got to move on.
So that's part. So the experience of actually being kicked off something is actually something you appreciate.
Well, you know, it's helped us because that moved us into nomadic gatherings.
Right.
So the best gatherings for me have been walking. So walking from London to Wales. That was an amazing experience.
So what was your current partner's complaints about the current condition of the Rainbow family?
Well, you know, her caricature is that, it's all these young people, they just want to get high, you know, and what's this contributing to us as a family? You know, we do home education.
Right.
So for her, it's a home education as the children have grown up. that's taking more priority. And for the children, as they develop friendships, they want their friends to go. But if the mothers of my partners, you know, they're hearing that the army's there, they're hearing that, you know, rainbow rumours that there's some, you know, like violence, or there's some bad vibes, there's passive aggressivity.
From inside or from outside, infiltrated inside?
Well, the authorities,
right,
you know, like this year, this autumn, we're in the Ashdown Forest, which used to be Henry VIII's hunting ground, right? They've got a Travellers Act there.
Right.
So trespass isn't a criminal activity, it's a civil matter. This goes back to, like, you know, it goes back a long time, but anyway, it's supposed to go through a process, you know. But the Ashdown Forest, there's a Travellers Act, which means that the rangers can get direct onto the bailiffs, and the next day they come, you've got to go. No legal process, it's protected, like the New Forest.
But then, so, would you agree with your partner then? Your partner's disagreements with the current climate is well justified, would you say?
This, you know, my partner's radical. You know, we've done rainbows together. But the point is, there are some mothers that aren't so radical, and they're put off. And you know, and that's sad.
But your wife is like them, though. She's now currently just like them. Right?
Well, my viewpoint is, I've been going to gatherings and say, come on, guys, get it together. We've got to be family friendly. You know, let's get off the caffeine. Let's get off. You know, I'm rainbow policeman suddenly. I don't want to be rainbow policeman.
I see the problem. So you're identifying there might need to be there could be a place for authority or enforce rules.
Well, look, I'm making suggestions. You know, I'm making suggestions. But if you've made an invitation and there's a consensus that it's a healing gathering.
What about separation within separation? So the rainbow family, they're separated in one sense. But within that separation, you have divisions where people who want to party go to the left. People. So do you reckon that might be a solution to your
And you can have closed circles.
Right.
Because within Vision Council, which is after full moon, so you have three types of circles broadly. The talking stick always, right? And you have the listening feather. So when you've got the word, you can ask a question of the group or raise a topic. You ask that question, you keep hold of the word, but you pass the feather. And people restrict themselves to that subject. So you get feedback from the group, and you put it back, and then you carry on. Okay?
Right. So could this be an idea that you push forward to the family? Like, why don't we actually have a separation within the separation, where the family can come to one side, where they're not going to be subjected to the high party life that is very similar to outside of the rainbow family, and then that way you don't have to oppress the people who want to party all day.
And you know, rainbow culture is immensely flexible. So you have like pirate camps, so you can beat the bounds, and then you can have a pirate camp outside of those rainbow bounds. You know, like in America, they have Hell's Gate. That's where the Vietnam veterans sit, and they have like meat camp. They have A camp. But they don't come with that behaviour into the rainbow gathering.
So this is a solution for you and your wife. This will actually fix the current disagreement.
Yeah.
Why don't you push this forward to her and the camp?
My conclusion is the main problem is the attitude of the external authorities. And like I was saying, this autumn, they came, the landowner, we were close to army exercise, The landowner's pally with the army. So we have like 10 army people coming in their vehicle, they take down our kitchen, and they nick our pots and they hide them in the undergrowth.
That's never good. But what I would say is, that sounds terrible, but what I would say is, have you ever thought about building a relationship with the owners of the land? So actually get permission to be there, and then maybe contribute something to them, because they're the purchasers of the land. Or is that forbidden?
Well, you know, the thing is, people say this to me, engage with that. But my discipline, you have to see what my discipline has been to work in that purest sense, that we don't recognise land ownership. Listen, I'm 46 years old, I'm set in my ways. I do anarchism, but I'm not. I don't have a smartphone. You know, I'm still on the mobile connection. With the rainbows, we used to do like snail mail written invitations. You know. So what I'm saying is, I've operated in that way. So I'm more likely to do like disruption in London than I am. You know, I was mulching my raspberries in the garden the other day. I've got my broad beans for our 3-year-old. She got for Christmas that I'm going to plant for her so she sees the beans coming up. I heard someone here saying, you know, while you're being a warrior, you've also got to plant a tree. You've also got to tend to your garden. and it's not either or, it's both. You know? So, but my response to these figures coming, okay, there might be some internal problems with overdoing it on the stimulants.
Right.
My partner could have a point, but actually I've seen the main problem as the external authorities.
And for you, just for your age group, the fact of just trying to get permission off the land, that wouldn't be some kind of compromise solution for the younger generation.
Yeah,
of women?
could be, going forward, But for me, in the space where I am, actually what I'm doing is saying, is these people are saying, this peaceful gathering in nature, off-grid, is it's not acceptable. You've got to move. We're not going to move anyway. Okay, we'll move for a bit. We're coming back. So you're going home. But you're saying that. Also, I'm going to come into the city and saying, look, this behaviour isn't acceptable. What's the scientific consensus? Is saying that we've got 12 years, something like that.
12 years.
With climate change.
Right.
With regard to temperatures and from rising, that's going to cause. There's areas in London when they won't insure against floods.
Right. Okay.
So.
Right.
And that's what I was saying during London Occupy. You might want to evict us now, but Mother Nature, she might want to evict, everyone in London.
So do you feel your wife's complaint was that of authoritarian, not really of the stimulant party?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, me personally, what if someone wasn't a member of the Rainbow family, and they then got permission for you? Would it be acceptable then, or would you still say, no, that's a cop-out?
Well, I'll take each day as it comes.
Yeah?
I'll take each day as it comes. But for me, the primal thing is the talking stuff, right? So I'm doing I do animal rights stuff, right? So tomorrow, I'll be at a slaughterhouse,
And so what happens, people at home, what happens when you actually go outside the slaughterhouse? What do you plan to do?
So I'm doing something that's part of the SAVE movement.
SAVE movement.
So the SAVE movement is about bearing witness.
Very space, great.
So the SAVE movement is about bearing witness to the animals. Okay. So in this particular place in Sussex, the animals only come on a Monday. It's what you call a high welfare slaughterhouse.
Right.
Okay. So it's not like industrial factory farm lorry drivers. They're not the farmers. They're the lorry drivers coming with all the factory farm gear.
Right.
What we get at this slaughterhouse is the guys in their Range Rovers or their their 4x4s with a trailer with maybe 6 or 8 animals in the back, and they're the farmers.
Right. So what do you intend to do?
So what we've been doing for 2 years. So initially they had security on the door
to stop you.
Yeah, to be the first line defence, and we had up to 10 policemen coming.
Well, what is it that you're doing that requires them to have policemen and security? What exactly are you doing?
Yeah, well, we're wanting to slow down the vehicles.
Right.
Slow down and bear witness. That means looking in the animal's eyes and make that connection with the animal.
So, do you ever try to take the animals and run?
What's that?
Do you ever try to take the animals and run?
I haven't. No, that's not the idea of the SAVE movement.
Why not?
The SAVE movement is to build up that compassion, that connection with that animal that we are aware is about to die.
Has anyone ever suggested to steal the animals and run away?
In different movements, there is that kind of thing. There is a lady who comes, right, and she's got sanctuary. She suggested that I can give you guys some money and I'll take it to my sanctuary.
So people at home, because this is live at the moment, right? But if you want,
here's my stimulant.
There you go.
I've got my advice, it's a coffee thing.
Obviously doesn't watch COE. But what I'm saying is, if people wanted to join you tomorrow on this on your protest and become a one of the animals, get to know them, where would they have to meet you? Because you guys don't necessarily use phones, you don't have technology. What would they have to do to join the non-movement movement?
Yeah, so we've got internal. It's word of mouth. For me, that's the way I work. Rainbow, I talk to people about Rainbow, and I make the invitation.
Do you think if Rainbow relax around the guidelines on technology, you might get out a bigger following, and you might get
I've got mobile phone, so I text people. That's why.
Kind of bending the rules a little bit.
No, but the rules are around, or the guidelines are within the Rainbow gathering. like it's very interesting with the nomadic gatherings. It's very interesting because like I can go out into nature and set up bounds, and people are coming for that gathering in nature where there was no humans. But can I go into the city and say, okay, Rainbow Family is around, so everyone in London's got to stop drinking alcohol. You know, everyone in London's got to stop taking drugs.
So when you come here, do you speak more about the Rainbow Family or veganism when you're here today to speak to school?
No, I told you Rainbow Family aren't all vegans.
No, but I'm talking about you personally.
Me
when
personally,
you come here,
yeah.
do you speak more about veganism or Rainbow Family recruitment?
This is my first time here, so I stood up on that platform and I made the invitation why I'm here is for Extinction Rebellion.
Right.
Okay, so I've been involved in. I've got a friend who's more involved in Extinction Rebellion.
So how do you know? Did you meet Tim here? The guy who was standing, his name was Tim.
Tim,
yeah. Oh, so
I met him here. He does what I do is
I've known Tim
vegan advocacy on the street.
I've known Tim for about 6 months, yeah?
Oh, right, yeah, met him here, right?
No, I met him in Brixton at an AV tube, yeah?
Ah, right.
Yeah, so I've known him for about 6 months now.
So are you part of the Rainbow Family or not?
He knows about it.
Oh, he knows about it. All right, so
yeah.
you are the only Rainbow Family here then?
No, there's a guy, Mo. Is he still lying on the grass? Lee has been to Rainbow Gatherings. I'm sure there's a few.
I think I would consider myself a member, yeah?
So he considers
There's
us
no
members.
members. Largest group of non-members in the world.
So you're a non-member?
That's a joke. The largest group of non-members.
Well, what would you call us then?
No, it's just like
There's membership. There's definitely membership. Are you?
For me, the two things about Rainbow is about nature, getting back to respect for the environment, God's creation, if you want to call it, and community. And this is what I'd say: we've got individual sovereignty, based on human rights. We've got nation-state sovereignty, but then where's the community sovereignty? And for me, that's the antidote to the world's problems.
So, do you have any questions for this?
Yeah.
Go ahead, look.
I was just wondering, so I'll give you a bit of background about myself. So I'm a Christian, I'm a vegan.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about, being a vegan to look after God's creation. What does the Rainbow Network do other than veganism in terms of, doing the works of God as such?
Yeah. Well, there are a lot. I mean, from what I hear from the elders, like the people that brought about the first big European gatherings, they were activists, and for them, going into nature was a way of building up strength in order to affect social change.
So do you have to be a Christian to be a member of the Rainbow Family?
No.
No, but there are Christians, especially I think more so in America. There are a lot of Christians go to the Rainbow.
So all faiths and non-faiths are welcome to come in.
Yeah. We get from all cultures and creeds. We get the Harry Christians.
Have you heard of the Rainbow Family before?
First.
Right. So you're a Christian vegan. How did you become a Christian vegan? How does that work?
So I became a vegan out of, I've done it for a month for health reasons, so my own selfish gain. As I've done it for longer, I started to realise it was the right thing to do for many reasons, for the planet, respecting God's creation, etc. And separate to that, I became a Christian because I believe God, Jesus is the Son of God.
Was you a vegan first or Christian first?
In terms of a devout Christian, I was a vegan first.
Right. So how long have you been a vegan for?
3 years.
Okay. So I always ask these questions to vegans. I'm a vegetarian myself.
Vegetarian.
But there you go.
Go vegan.
Yeah. No.
That's better.
I agree. Health-wise and ethic-wise, vegan is better than vegetarian. I was talking to Tim now because obviously there's certain things that certain principles I still uphold. I was saying, if you live in a house, there's something to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So if mice was to infiltrate your house, how would you treat them?
If who, sorry?
Mice was to infiltrate your house.
Very good question.
What would you do for the people at home?
I'd get my neighbour's cat.
Okay, so you're okay with other animals hunting to get rid of those?
No, I'm just getting the cat and let him do his thing.
Right. So you just turn a blind eye, like whatever happens, happens.
Well, I do believe there, to an extent, that is nature, and so to argue that, I don't believe I was born to eat meat, whereas a cat was.
What's your? Do you agree with this sentiment?
it can be divisive. I used to live off grid, and there were rats, and it was like, particularly the families who had children, they were concerned about Lyme's disease and stuff like this.
Right.
The ship rats. I think essentially being more hygienic and making sure there were no scraps left around the communal space.
Right.
Is the better way forward.
But you currently live in a house at the moment, right? Am I wrong?
I'm living in a house.
So
now,
I don't know.
we've had the issue. We had a humane trap, you know.
How do you do
the
that?
one where the mouse goes in, you've got to check it, and then you take it out and release it. You know?
Right. So would you agree with this the solution of cats? Would you say the cat solution is just as valid?
We've got a cat.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't my idea to have the cat. The cat was suddenly there, you know. Like my partner got the cat. It was a little consultation. I was like,
So is it a pet or a companion?
well, it catches a lot of birds.
Do you like that?
It's outside. I mean, I think a cat is an amazing creature.
Right.
I think a cat's an amazing creature. I can't really comment. I'm not. I was brought up with cats.
I see.
My family, we had cats, so I'm used to them. But they're independent. They're different from dogs, aren't they?
Do you feed this cat that lives in your house?
I don't personally, because it wasn't my idea to have the cat.
So it's your wife.
Yeah.
You have a very strong-willed wife, it sounds.
Yeah. Well, fair enough.
Right, yeah.
That's cool.
She makes
She doesn't
choice
interfere with
decisions.
what I want to do, so
Does she identify as a rainbow person, family?
internally, I mean, we met at a rainbow gathering.
She changed her ways. Changed her ways as time went on.
She was in a rainbow gathering in India. My first rainbow.
Is she Indian herself?
No.
Right, cool.
So I was just going to say, I think the key thing here is, and I think we all agree, that perhaps my choice of getting a cat first is probably not the most compassionate way to do.
I would say it probably wasn't.
Yeah, so
you're
I guess,
vegan. So
if I can somehow trap the animal without harming it to release it, of course, but...
Because Tim, he's over there talking, but Tim was saying he probably would, if it was infested, he'll probably kill them all. And I think because he saw it as his house is his castle, and his castle's being invaded, and that's a direct attack on him. So I said, I'm vegan similar to this kind of concept. So it's interesting to me.
Well, I guess if I'm getting attacked,
Right.
I may try to turn my cheek.
Well, no. I think he's saying that the fact that they're coming in and they haven't got permission, they are invading his house, and that's seen as an attack. So he's able to defend his castle, i.e. his home, and then he will actually killing them will be okay. It's in his mind.
I feel we could argue all day long, but
I've got in our house we've got rescue guinea pigs.
Right. Okay. Great.
Yeah. So you know what, I was consulted more in this subject.
Yeah.
And like 4 years ago, I wouldn't have said yes. It was like, for me, I was different 4 years ago. My parental thing was, okay, we're off. I was more traditional male.
Yeah.
We're off walking into nature. Keep up. Come on, we're going for mating. And for me, the idea of domestic animals, it was an anathema.
Have you read?
But with the youngest daughter, there was
to be fair,
something happened that opened up more nurturing.
veganism is important to me.
And also at the same
more
time, I
important
got
than
more
veganism
involved
to
in
my life.
animal
If
rights.
I'm being
stuff.
frank.
Right. Okay.
So-
So that's a bit of a conflict. But
Well, the thing is,
Because the way I see it
the
is
Earthlings
the corporate
experience,
companies are
which is
abusing them.
the movement of what our friends here, Anonymous for the Voiceless, we go out with laptops, yeah? And have you seen the film Earthlings?
not yet. No.
Yeah, I recommend Earthlings. Right? Okay, so it's 5 chapters on animal exploitation.
Oh, wait, did they wear masks?
That's
Have
right,
you seen
yeah.
that? I've seen it in
Yeah, Earthlings experience, based on the film Earthlings. And there's 5 chapters in the film Earthlings. And one whole chapter is devoted to the pet industry and the hideous exploitation that's involved. So the distinction with these guinea pigs were they were rescue guinea pigs.
Right. So, right. So in your mind, because they were rescued from a horrible place, that allows them to live in your house as a companion.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm building the empathy with the children, saying and showing them and talking about the pet industry. Like, for example, in Dorset, they've got monkey world. You know about monkey world?
In Gambia, but not in Dorset.
Okay, so down in Dorset, there are all these monkeys, that have been rescued from experimentation cages. They've been confined in these cages, and they're attempting to give them a life and people go to see them.
When you say rescue, do you mean like infiltrate and take it?
No, they've given them money. Most cases, I guess sometimes they've been taken.
Yeah.
But
Which would you prefer, to pay for or to release?
To release.
Right.
Yeah. It's the same like this lady, but in order to have a license to have animals, you've got to have a stock.
Right.
So this lady who's got a sanctuary, she used to breed stallions.
Right.
Yeah. Before she became vegan, 10 years ago, but she still loves animals, but she doesn't want to make money out of them anymore. But because she's got that license, landowning license to have animals, you could extend that to other animals.
She's a vegan?
Yeah, she is.
So you can live on her land, technically, right?
I don't think her husband would be up for that. But anyway, there is a sanctuary where I've got a friend who's living. But it's not open to the public. And it's because it's not open to the public, it's not restricted to the same standards as other sanctuaries where all the animals are separated. On this sanctuary that's not open to the public, but it's open for volunteer days, small community. All the animals are mixing with each other. And it's almost like the ducks have got as much to say to the geese as the geese have got to say to the cows, as the animals have got. And you know what? Of anarchist get-togethers that I've seen, it's the most multicultural that I've seen out in the sticks. People from all cultures and creeds, like the Rainbow Prophecy.
So, this might be a very, very silly question. Does the Rainbow family have a website that people can find out about them and contact them and so forth?
There's lots of different ones.
Oh, right.
And it's like there shouldn't be a centralised one. Some people might give credence to a centralised one. But what's that? We have consensus, right? Let me describe how Rainbow Family Vision Council works. I described there are three forms of having circle. One is day to day. Who's going to fetch the water? Who's going to be responsible? Then you have heart shares, which usually happen in the evening. So it's not about today, it's about our past, where we're coming from. So we share in that way, in the emotional field. And then you've got Vision Council, right? Where are we going next? Yeah? So I've been involved in European Vision Councils. And you know what it sounds like? It sounds like the Eurovision Song Contest. It sounds like next year the European gathering should come to Spain, sunny Spain. Or let's go to Sweden. And it's defined by national traits. Because we have a lack of scouting knowledge and experience within the Rainbow family, never once have I seen in Vision Council someone who's come with a space in Europe and says, look, I'll describe the springs, I'll describe the land, I'll describe the animals I've seen, and this is it. Would you like to have consensus on that? It never happens. It goes, we'll go to that nation state, and then we'll scout after, and we'll find a place, and everyone knows it's going to be in that country, and we'll find a place somewhere.
Okay. So what I can say is, I'm going to wrap this interview up. Right, but you said you were here doing a speech, right?
Yeah,
so you're more than welcome to look at the camera and redo. I don't know if content
I can do that.
And you can do the speech, and then you have free. I'll step out, and you've got as long as you need to get your message.
I just want to say, just with regard to Extinction Rebellion. So I've been peripherally involved in Extinction Rebellion, and there's an invitation that I made earlier on that. Extinction Rebellion are going to come in 2 weeks' time, so at the time of Imbolc, or like Candlemas, so I think it's the 3rd of February, and we'll come with identified Extinction Rebellion jackets. So it's like the Green Movement coming to Speaker's Corner, and anyone can identify them by that jacket, and feel free to engage in that debate about the environment and how long have we got to avoid disastrous climate change. So that's the invitation. I plan to be here myself also. So everyone welcome. Thank you.
Content over everything from your melody. Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
mind.
Listen!
So of course, for us to understand, we have to pull it in stories. We have to pull it in words. How else could we have the attempt to think deeply? Okay. So when God is saying do, yeah, I agree. I don't think it actually means do. But many people, not all Muslims, because we have different beliefs, not all Christians, think literally do in some way. In some way. I'm saying if it's in any way, that's not the understanding of God that I believe is correct.
What is correct?
That's fair. That's subjective. That's your